Here's what I did during my weekend in Toronto. When I got there, I tried to sleep because I woke up at 4 a.m. But I couldn't fall asleep, so I ended up dancing instead. Then I practiced some lines while I waited for my manager to pick me up because Nintendo of Canada invited me to their event. When we got there, they had this VIP tent for us. I got to meet a bunch of fans. I got to play games with fans. I got introduced by the host AJ. Then at the end of the night, I got to watch the Super Mario Bros. Movie. The next day, I took this Uber to meet my manager for lunch. Then after she showed me a bit of downtown Toronto since she used to live there, we went to the Distillery District, then to Dundas Square, which has all these fancy billboards. Then we went back to the drive-in theater where I did more filming for Nintendo, played more games, met more fans, and even did my best Mario impression. It's me, Mario! Then on my final day, I was on my own, so I got an Uber to the CN Tower. There was a massive line though, so I checked out the aquarium first. I saw my first seahorse, this shark swam over top of me, and I even got to see a worker feed a stingray. Then I went to the top of the CN Tower. I could even see the Blue Jays playing from up there. Then I walked around and found this burger place. Then I did more walking around by the lake until it was time for me to catch my flight back home.
He's coming, let me hide with you. Come on, quick. That was a close one.
I'm really bored. What should we do? Why don't we go to my house? We could like go swimming in my pool. I even have a ping pong table. Okay, yeah, sure. I mean, only if your parents are okay with it though. Oh yeah, don't worry. I already asked them and they said they're fine with it. Okay, as long as they said that. Yeah, let's go. So you're sure it's okay with your parents, right? Yeah, man, don't worry. They're cool with it. Okay, just making sure. Just wait here for a second. Dad, is it okay if Luke comes over? Wait, I thought he said he really wants to come over and use our pool and stuff. You offered.
I don't know. We're pretty busy here. We're about to have company over.
Oh, okay, because I told him I wasn't really sure if he could or not.
Yeah, I think your friend needs to learn some more manners.
Can I ask you one question? You already did. Okay, can I ask you 2 questions? But you just did. Okay, can I ask 4 questions? You just did. Again. When? Right then.
Dad, I bet you can't say Coca-Cola without your lips touching each other.
Why are you laughing? I did it.
Now say it normally.
Coca-Cola.
See? Your lips didn't even touch.
Wake up, filthy.
Babe, are you almost ready to leave? Almost. I just have a quick question for you. Should I wear the purple or the green? The green. I'm gonna wear the purple, but thank you. So as you guys know, I mean, lots of you guys... Boys, zip it while I'm talking. I'm not going to ask you again. So, as I was saying, That's it. Jesse, move to that seat over there. Miss, if I sit beside my best friend, I'll whisper to him. But if you move me across the class, I'll shout at him. It's your choice.
Wake up, filthy.
Jeez, it's cold out. I need to move closer to the fire. things that only exist in Japan. They have square watermelons. Farmers use special containers to give them this shape, but they're so expensive that people usually only get them for special occasions. In Japan, there's other Kit Kat flavors, like chili, sweet potato, wasabi, roasted corn, soy, watermelon, or mango. In lots of buildings, there's parking for umbrellas, which are similar to those of bicycles. In their traffic lights, they have a blue light instead of a green. There's a canned food restaurant chain. In some places, there are no number 4. For example, some buildings don't have a 4th floor, and some stores don't sell items that come in 4s. Their toilets are high-tech. Some of the functions are a heated seat, spraying warm water, and even playing music. Their cabs have automatic doors for passengers. And finally, they have capsule hotels, which are rooms that only have a bed and a TV. This 6-year-old boy became the youngest soldier in World War II. Sergei Aleshkov, a 6-year-old boy, was orphaned during World War II after German troops arrived and killed everyone in his village, including his mother and brother. Sergei managed to escape with the help of a neighbor and quickly ran into the forest. After a few days, he was found by Soviet scouts who took him to a shelter led by Major Kozelski. Kozelski decided to leave him with the battle troops, and he was soon adopted by Mikhail Vorobyov, who didn't want to send him to an orphanage. Sergei didn't take part in combat operations. Instead, he had tasks like delivering letters and newspapers. He also brought the soldiers whatever they needed, including water, ammo, and grenades. But one of the times he went to deliver the newspaper, he saw suspicious people in a haystack and informed the artillery commander. The people turned out to be German spies who were then neutralized. After the war, Vorobyov raised Sergei, who later got married, had 2 children, and passed away in 1990. 7 random facts you'll hear for the first time. The bones of mice are extremely flexible, so much so that they can even fit into the hole of a pen. Stop signs were yellow until they were changed into red in 1954. The defense mechanism for the mimic octopus is insane. It can change color and take on the shape of another animal, like sea snakes, flounders, or lionfish. The hole in the middle of a spaghetti spoon isn't only to drain water, it's also used to measure a portion for one person. The hottest place inhabited by humans is Dalol, Ethiopia, where temperatures have reached 49 degrees Celsius. The only letter in the English alphabet that isn't in the periodic table is J. When tea was first marketed, the beverage was placed in hand-sewn cloth bags. The idea was that the consumers would pull the leaves out of the bag, but they didn't know that and used it that way. They were a success and are still used like that. Normal-looking photos with disturbing backstories. One morning in 1954, a photographer for the Los Angeles Times named John Gaunt was in the front yard of his beachfront home when he heard a neighbor yelling that there's something happening on the beach. He thought it would be something interesting for the newspaper, so he grabbed his camera and took this photo. But unfortunately, it turned out that this couple's 19-month-old son, who was playing in their front yard, wandered off into the beach, then vanished into the water where they never found him. When you first look at this photo, it just looks like a normal high school picture. But if you look in the top left corner, you can see a man named Eric Harris and his friends pointing pretend guns at the camera. Just a few weeks after this photo was taken, Eric and one of his friends shot 12 students and 1 teacher. This photo was taken at a nightclub, but shortly after it caught on fire from fireworks and 100 people passed away. This man ordered pizza every day for 10 years until the employees noticed something was off. 48-year-old Kirk Alexander loves Domino Pizza so much that he orders it almost every single day. The general manager named Sarah said that he orders every day or every other day and all the employees know who he is. But one day, the staff noticed that he hadn't ordered in a few days, so they just figured he was on vacation. A few days later, the manager looked at when his last order was and it was 11 days ago. At this point, the manager knew something was off, so she sent one of her employees to check on him. When he got to Kirk's house, he noticed the lights were on, so he knocked on the door, but there is no answer. He decided to get out his phone and he called them several times, but still there is no answer. At this point, he knew something was off, so he called 911 and explained the whole situation. When the paramedics got inside, they found out that he had suffered from a stroke. And they said if they were just 1 day later, he may not still be alive. Bizarre things found in people's backyard. A man found a dinosaur bone that was 250 million years old. A couple who bought a house in California found an anti-nuclear bunker from the 1960s. It was built during the Cold War and was 4 meters underground for radiation protection. One man found human bones while doing yard work. He took them for examination and they were determined to be bones from 1,000 years ago. A man digging came across a passageway that led to the pyramids of Egypt. He dug around 30 feet down the tunnel, and archaeologists confirmed that it was a tunnel leading to Egypt's oldest pyramid. In Iowa, a family found a mammoth femur in 2010. He kept it for 16 years until it was finally examined in 2013. Scientists determined that the bone was approximately 12,000 years old and belonged to a woolly mammoth. Gadgets that give you superpowers. MYO is a bracelet made by Telmic Labs. It allows you to control your electronics with simple gestures. The sensors detect the movements in your arm muscles, and some of its functions are you can control the volume of your music, you can control drones, and you could also play games without the joystick. If you've ever wanted to throw fire with your hands, you can with the Pyro Mini Flamethrower. You put it on your wrist and it lets you throw sparks, flames, and fireballs. It does this by quickly burning tissue. The exoskeleton is a full bodysuit. It has integrated weapons, it's bulletproof, it increases your mobility and strength by taking the stress off your joints and muscles, which even allows people in wheelchairs to stand up and walk.
Dark secrets you didn't know about SeaWorld. SeaWorld is home to orcas who were kidnapped from the ocean, but the stories they tell about their captures are way different from what actually happened. For example, one of the stories they tell is that one of the orcas, which they named Tilikum, was rescued when she was 2 years old because she was injured in the ocean. But the truth is that she was taken away from her natural habitat against her will and given to SeaWorld for exhibition. The dolphins in the park suffer from stress caused by the contact they have with humans, which prevents them from feeding, resting, and taking care of their babies. Even though this information is supported by studies done at the University of Newcastle, they continue to let the public touch them. Finally, all the animals suffer from terrible consequences from overcrowding and unnatural living conditions. For example, the whales live in spaces that would be equivalent to us living in a bathtub, which doesn't allow them to swim enough to stay healthy, and you could tell by their collapsed dorsal fins. But SeaWorld claims that it's a natural condition.
This teacher stopped for a boy riding his bike in the middle of the highway, which ended up saving his dad's life. One day, Keller Sutherland was driving home from work when she seen a boy biking in and out of traffic on the highway. She was worried for the boy, so she turned around and went to talk to him. When she rolled down her window, she realized that she knew the boy. It was 7-year-old Cameron Simoncic, who was a former student of hers. The boy rushed over to her and burst out in tears. Then she told him to get in the car and explain why he was upset. Cameron said that when he got home from school, he saw his dad lying on the ground unconscious. He tried calling 911, but he couldn't get on his dad's phone because he didn't know the password. So he went to his neighbor's house, but they weren't home. The only other thing he could think of was to bike to his grandma's house. But luckily the teacher found him, then dialed 911 and gave the phone to him so he could tell the police where to go. Apparently Cameron's father is diabetic. As soon as Cameron and the teacher arrived back at his house, the paramedics were there giving insulin to his dad. Around 30 minutes later, he was feeling better, and it was all because of the teacher.
Scammers who got caught in the act. In China, people trying to scam drivers is common. In this video, a man was driving down a narrow road when suddenly a lady walked into the middle of the road and laid down, and then waits for the vehicle to get close to her, so she pretends that she's been hit. But the driver put the car in reverse, then the lady got off the ground and tried to dent the front of the vehicle, then lay back down. If the man didn't have the dash cam, they may have thought he actually hit her. In this video, a man's driving along when suddenly a car pulls out in front of him and zigzags to try and cause a minor collision. The car then stops and a group of men get out, blocking the driver from continuing. The way the scam works is the men try and get the guy's insurance details so they can claim money from the company for supposedly being hit. But when the driver tells them that they're being recorded, they just walk away and try and find their next victim. If you see a cookie under your doormat, call the police immediately. When a burglar finds a house to target, they start by watching the owner to find out information about the routine to figure out the best time to enter the house. One of the tactics they use to gather information is so simple you wouldn't think twice about it. But next time you hear a crunch under your shoe while entering your house, stop and check what it is, because if it's a cookie, you're in trouble. This is a tactic burglars use to see if you're gone on a trip or what time you come home every day. Since it's a cookie, people usually don't think too much about it and may even think it's a leaf or a bug. But if the burglar checks on the cookie and it hasn't been broken in a couple days, then they know you're gone on a trip and will break into your house.
These customers bought out a donut store so the owner can take care of his sick wife. This is what the store looked like at 5 in the morning. The line was already going out the door. All of the customers are there to show their support by buying as many donuts as they can so the owner can leave early to take care of his wife who's recovering from a brain aneurysm.
I bought 3 dozen. Yeah, I came in the other day and bought 300.
When this lady named Jonah got there, all of the donuts were sold out and it was only 7 in the morning. But instead of being mad, she was really happy. Because growing up, she also had a family business. So she was happy that people were there to show support for a local business.